What is it you would like to talk about?
Ah, you're awake, Mr. Fury.
Welcome back. How was your flight, Rabbit?
Is everything okay, sir?
Dropped your wallet.
You don't look at me anymore. I miss you.
Do you miss me? Don't be afraid.
I don't know.
When you sleep at night, ugly man, you're gonna
Think of me. I'm gonna punch your face in.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Show me your face. Show me your face. What are you doing here? Wake up, lad. Dad?
Hey, Tyson. We need to end this.
I'm gonna end you.
I'm ready to.
Unbelievable stuff. Thank you so much, everybody who is joining us here on the question that we ask every week is what's a work? And I mean, AI is definitely a work, and boxing, it seems like, has fallen right into it. Man, thanks once again for joining me. As always, if you haven't yet, please go hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment. I'm sure there's going to be some comments on this one. And joining me, as usual, the man we have full face Steve Swift joining us from across the pond. Steve, how you doing today, buddy?
Very, very well, thank you. My big face, big face. Big face. If I was in the boxing ring, you'd have no problem at all hitting that big face. About 14 foot.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen. Just because it looks like one of the statues from Easter Island, I won't hold that against you.
I still get royalties. You know that? I get royalties for that.
Now, let's talk about royalties, and let's talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about all the bees, and we've got a new one. We've got a new one this week after watching all of the boxing that happened this past weekend, but right out the gate, the business. The business of boxing is, oh my God, wonderful. If you saw that ad for Fury versus Usyk, unbelievable. What did you think when you first saw this thing, Steve?
Just fantastic. Well, fantastic. I couldn't even get the word fantastic out there. Fantastic. Because having seen the Guy Ritchie, touching hands and all of the sweet car, with the kind of gangster thing for the AJ and Dubois fight, that is much more important. That's much. It's just it's fun. That's what boxing should also be. The business of boxing should also be fun. I love all that teasing stuff. That business of boxing is lovely. Not I'm gonna take the souls of your children, that kind of thing. I've got YouTube pictures of you that I'm going to show everybody. That sort of thing. It's just terrible. Well, that's lovely, particularly chicken sausage. Listen to me. I'm going to punch your face in.
Between chicken sausage and greedy belly, Greedy belly grab is just the best. Like
I also love surprise.
it was a fantastic piece of cinema that I don't even care. Even if you're not a boxing fan, you have to appreciate what the Sheik and Riyadh and the Riyadh season and what they're doing for boxing right now. That is the business end of it that I like to see, because I mean, oh my God, clearly AI took over that entire ad. But the fact that they laid it out the way that they did and have been doing it for some time, they've been planning this for some time and getting ready for this. And this is brilliant to me. I think that even if you don't like boxing, you have to appreciate this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the great thing about it, and the feeling that as soon as the bell rings to end that fight, in the 12th round, then they both hug each other. Usually, you never see any boxers saying, "I still hate you." It's respect and all of that, and we can have some fun here, because it's not just about this is really important and serious, which it is, but actually let's have a bit of entertainment in there, because that's what the business of boxing is. We talked about Eddie Hearn last week, and he brings a bit of entertainment to that, in my view, to that sort of business of boxing, and I love that. This is just great.
Well, and I think you've got two guys in Fury and Usyk that both understand that. I mean, Fury's been a character since day one. There's no doubt about it. His character of Tyson Fury is probably way different than what his home life of Tyson Fury is. I don't know. I've never been there. I wouldn't want to go there because I would be afraid of getting impregnated, because that seems to be a thing that he does all the time when he's at home. But he's a character, and Usyk is a guy who clearly understands character. I mean, he shows up at the presser dressed up as Hitman. He gets Tyson Fury to sign a picture from their last fight of him, knocking Tyson down. Like, unbelievable stuff. They understand that aspect of it, and that is a refreshing change when you talk about the other B's, as we're talking about this week, of boxing, right?
Yes, I mean, most of that I didn't listen to because I couldn't get over the thought of you being impregnated by Tyson Fury. I mean, that's I never thought that would be here when I got out of bed this morning. It wasn't something that was on my mind. But thanks for. I'll never be able to unsee that. Now I'm going to have to wash my both eyes and my third eye out as well. So yes, I think they both understand that this is about entertainment as well. They both have. And really, it could be their final fights. Let's think about that. It could be their final fights. It has a finality to it. They're not going to go rubber match, are they? Really, even if they're not. I don't think. Maybe if Fury wins, but anyway, it does have a finality to it. So they're getting to the end of their careers, and why not have some fun while they do that?
Well, they're both at that age. I mean, Usyk. Now 37 or something like that, and Fury is no spring chicken as well. He's up there as well. So I get it. In the age of boxing, age is really a thing, right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned age, and I know that you heard a little story about Amir Khan.
Amir Khan, yes, Amir Khan. They just can't leave it alone. Rather than tending his vegetable patch, and getting his free bus pass, he's not that old. We got a free bus pass at 60 here, or 65. He's not that aged, but he wants to enter the ring again. He can't leave it alone. He wants to enter the ring again and fight the Pac-Man, Manny Pacquiao. Well, I mean, the thing is, there are two things here, aren't there, really? I don't want to see Amir Khan enter the ring again, not after what happened last time with Kell Brook. I don't want to see that. He was dismantled, and I don't want to see it. It was hard to watch. But then, if you're going to go in against anybody that's similar to your weight class, then you might want to look at Manny Pacquiao, who was just terrible last time out. So it's as if what he's really saying is, I'm awful, you're awful. Let's get it on. That's not a way to sell a match, is it? Two terrible fighters.
It's funny when you mention that. Do you think that there's been anybody who's fallen from such a height as Manny Pacquiao?
Tyson. I mean Mike Tyson. Okay. I think. Yeah, massive fall for him. But apart from that, no, not really.
But Tyson found ways. Tyson found ways to reinvent himself outside of boxing and make a living, a very good living, doing, just becoming a meme, basically. Pacquiao's taking fights because he needs the money. Who would have ever thought that Manny Pacquiao is fucking broke, Steve?
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, I don't know whether it's about the political campaigns. I really don't. But there's also that side of things, isn't there, where he ran and thought, I'm a big star, I'll probably win, and fell far short of that. So that's also really, really bad for him as well, because it's about, I'm not as popular as I perhaps thought I was. That's so difficult. So yes, it's such a shame, because in his pomp, superb, and you don't want to see people coming back. Really don't want to do that. Now, I don't think Amir Khan needs to do that for the cash, but I think he wants to do that because he simply can't leave it alone, and that's crazy. That's sad as well.
Especially when you have, now let's talk about the boxing of boxing, and we saw some fantastic fights very recently, right? We just got to end up watching. Let's talk Navarrete Valdez very quickly.
Yeah, you can do it very quickly because it only lasted 6, and the look on Valdez's face at when he was put down and pitched forward from the hook in the 4th. I mean, he looked at the ref as if to say, what can I do? It was similar to the Sonny Edwards thing last week, which is, what on earth can I do? There's nothing. He couldn't match him for speed. He couldn't match him for movement. Navarrete was patient, great shot selection, ended it in the 6th. That was quite right. And we don't need to talk about it for long because it was a great fight if you're a Navarrete fan.
Well, and here's the thing, and I've always said this, anytime you get 2 Mexican fighters in the ring together, there's going to be fireworks. Absolutely no doubt about that. Navarrete, not necessarily the most proficient in skill and technique as a fighter. There's not a lot of Mexican fighters that really are, because what they bring is a lot of heart, and they don't give up, and they're willing to just stand in there and bang. And that's what we saw last night. And Valdez found out very quickly that things have changed from the first time that they fight. Very much so, right?
Yeah. And what you say about bringing a lot of heart was what referees want to see is, okay, you're taking a lot of punishment. Show me you've got something. Oh, you have. And he was fighting out of so much. Great to watch. I mean, it couldn't have gone much longer. It would have been, I think, quite difficult to watch if it was going much longer than that. But things have changed massively. And a great fight for the boxing of boxing. Just great skill set on because he was allowed to show it, because Navarrete was allowed to show his skill set. You're quite right. But great to see that.
And we also got to see as well, because it was such a busy weekend this past weekend of boxing fights. Saturday night, unbelievable. You got to see Paro and Hitchens, new champion in Hitchens. Paro had no answer whatsoever. He kept running full steam into straight rights and straight lefts and jabs, that left jab from Hitchens the entire time. His head movement was literally forward and backwards. There was no side to side. It was like, and I've seen, and we're talking about a 25-0 Liam Paro. So it's not like he's, he got outclassed or anything like that. This one went the distance. Hell of a fight, in my opinion. But now we're talking about another rematch that may have happened. And I want to get into that one in a second, that happened over the weekend. But I want to talk another B very quickly, because we were talking about branding and how important branding is before. And it looks like Ben Whittaker, who definitely is a brand, no doubt about it, could be coming back. What have you heard?
Yeah, I mean, if he is a brand, after the last fight with Liam Cameron, he'll be in the special offer aisle, because, I mean, the feeling was, I mean, I've seen him coming up and thought, oh, he's imperious. His work is beautiful. He's got that sort of, we mentioned him last week, Nassim Hamed swagger. And I thought, oh, he's one to watch. Against Cameron, no, he was found out.
Yeah, you got none of that stuff. See, here's the thing. And everybody goes to Prince first, right? Let's talk about who the real king of all of this is. Emmanuel Augustus. Emmanuel Augustus, if you've ever looked him up, if you haven't out there, ladies and gentlemen, look him up, because this is the king of clowns when it comes to the world of boxing. Nobody did that shuffle, that juke, that jive better than this guy at all. So, I just want to shout out to Emmanuel Augustus very quickly before we get into that. Anyways, back to Ben Whittaker.
Well, he's saying that, in their last fight, it ended with both of them going over the top rope. Now, quite a lot of people said, when I first saw it, I thought, okay, well, Cameron's after him. And, this was his chance because he's not been around for some time. This was his chance to make a stand. And he did. He really showed Ben Whittaker that actually, maybe you're not the silky smooth guy you think you are. So, he swarmed him and early on, and Ben Whittaker had very little answer to that. They both went over the top rope. I can't remember which round it was. It was the middle round, and Whittaker was leaning against the ropes. Now, when I first saw that, I thought, well, Cameron's he's pushed hard, and he's gone over the ropes. When I watched it again, maybe I was influenced. This is the business of boxing and the branding of boxing, isn't it? In that I thought a lot of people are saying that Whittaker grabbed hold of him and pulled him over the ropes. Now, when I watched it again, I thought, ooh, maybe he did. I don't know. But what he is saying is, obviously, he landed on top of me. I landed on the apron. I hurt my leg. And he was taken out of the arena in a wheelchair and went and had, I went to the hospital. He's rehabbed. He wants to come back for a rematch because he'll need to do that. It's all on the table now. It's all on the table for Whittaker. For Cameron, he's been signed by Frank Warren, been signed by Queensbury, so that's just great. And that's, if you put in a good performance, you really hope that you're going to get the plaudits for that, and he has. So that is lovely. It's going to be a febrile match. It's going to be bad-tempered, I reckon, in that rematch, because they both got something to prove.
100%. And I don't think you're going to see that Ben Whittaker, the flashiness that you're going to see. I think he's going to go out there and want to box and want to do his, do things that are right. Now, before we go here, I want to talk very quickly about the newest bee, if you will, in the bees of boxing, because we've talked about the business, we've talked about the boxing, we've talked about the branding. And this past weekend, we saw another rematch that I said I wanted to get to. And it brings up this final bee for me, Steve. And this was the rematch between Ryan Rozicki and Manuel Peralta for the WBC Interim Cruiserweight Championship, because we've seen that Ryan was supposed to fight back in July, then back in September, and now in December, and the problems that they've had with Don King Promotions and this whole rigmarole of trying to get this thing done. The fight finally happens, and I watched this fight, and it happens in Sydney, Nova Scotia in Canada, in front of Ryan Rozicki's home crowd. And if anybody watched this fight, you watch this fight 20 times in a row, you will come to the same conclusion that I did. Watch it with the sound off, and watch it with no outside interference, no influence from the Nonito Donaire, who was on the microphone. I couldn't believe it. That was fantastic. But you got to see a fight where Ryan Rozicki definitely has evolved since the last time they fought. And Ryan Rozicki won that fight. Now, when the judges' cards came in, because it did go to the judges, it went the distance, there was a lot of hugging. There wasn't as much running from Peralta on this one. There was a lot more hugging this time around. Ryan Rozicki won by one judge, and the other two judges made it a draw. So this is where we're at, Steve. The WBC Cruiserweight belt, no answers yet. What do we do here, man?
Well, this is the perennial issue, isn't it? And this is about how do we work this? Because what's the best in this country? We say, do we really? There are people who say, do we really need a king and queen? They take a lot of our money, and generally the comment is, what's the alternative? It's a president. And do I want the prime minister to be my president? What's the alternative? I'm of the similar. I don't know what the alternative is, to judges and scorecards and sitting just in front of a crowd who are febrile and are saying things, and that could affect you. And, we've had some terrible, terrible scorecards. We've had some awful. I mean, recently it happens regularly. But you see, the thing is, even if you feel that a boxer that you might favour wins a fight, it does feed into the kind of hoopla of boxing, and people like that. They like that. It gives us something to talk about, doesn't it? We're talking about it. So we're talking about boxing. It is awful, but then what's the alternative? I mean, with AI coming up, we could have a few robots out there, but or they could sit in a sealed room and, as you say, watch it on a monitor. That might work with no commentary. That could work, but then people would say, "Yeah, but look at the camera angles. Could have paid him off for the camera angles." How do you do that? But sitting in front of a crowd who you can hear, that's not the best way to do this. But what else do you do? I'm asking an open question here. What else could you do?
This is the thing. And you know what? We'd like to hear from all of you. Leave your comments. Let's find out what you think. What can we do to stop these BS decisions from happening? It's happened many, many times in the world of boxing, and it needs to absolutely stop. Is it something where we have noise-canceling headphones on these judges while they're sitting there so they can't hear all of the outside noise whatsoever, and they're just focused on the thing? Is there more education that they need? I don't know, but I want to hear from all of you. Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate you as always. This has been another bee that we've added to the bonnet. Pretty soon we're going to have all the bees in our bonnet, and we're talking about boxing. And the one thing that I got to remember to tell you guys, listen, Steve, tell us where they can find you.
You can find me all over the place. You can find me on TikTok, steve.swift088. You can find me on YouTube. I'm World Weary Guy 1 on that one. There's only one. It's me here. And you can find me on X or Twitter, or I'm on Blue Sky now as well. Just search for me. You'll find me. We'll have a lovely conversation. It'll be beautiful. I might invite you to tea. Milk in second, never milk in first for that tea. Thank you.
Well, there you go. We always learn something new from somebody every single time. Steve, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but we are going to go out with one of our new ads here. I want you to take a look. Let me know what you think about this one. And for those of you, thank you so much. We always ask the question, what's the work, right here on The Law. We'll be right back after this.
You've got your sunrise. You caught a prize. You're making your Johnson. Party nights, summer whites. You, your friends, and your Johnson. Rooster tails, water trails. You, your kids, and your Johnson. Saturday nights, distant lights. You, your girl, and your Johnson.
You and your Johnson, a way of life for over 50 years.
Subscribe now for more content and combat sports discussions.
This is the law.
This is the law.